Hey everyone, and welcome back to Amnesia Memories. This is just an extras video where I'll be going through all of the extra stuff, and we'll start with looking through the album, which is just endings and pictures and stuff, and then I'll hit memories, extras, and then minigames with the sound of their voices on. So let's start with the album. So we got everything in the good endings, which, you know, of course. The only one that I know we didn't get everything is in the bad endings. And I don't even know whose route I missed, which isn't good. But that's okay considering I wasn't going for getting all of the bad ends. It was just in the moment. So I don't know who these could be for, actually. It's not Ukyo. Pretty sure I got all of his. And he's the only one that I know for sure. I think I've gotten everything for Toma and Shin. I think that's when I really used a walkthrough. I'm not sure about Kent. It might be Ikki's, because I don't think I used a walkthrough for that one. I hope I'm right. I'm pretty sure I didn't use a walkthrough for his. If I did, I don't know how I forgot. The movie stuff is just the endings, which don't get captured, I guess. I don't know if I could have captured it if I just did window or not, but you know what? It's fine. It just showed pictures. It just showed pictures of the boy of that route. Pretty music is playing and stuff. You could probably look it up on YouTube in the gallery. I think I got all the pictures except 3 in etc. And then, pretty sure I mentioned this before, but on the roses, the pictures with roses, you can get like lines out of them or something. I might end up showing that off. I got scared there's somebody outside. Yeah, I think I'll show off maybe one from each picture. I don't know what they say. I haven't checked it yet. Yeah, so I don't have like 3 of the images. Maybe I might get that from when we do the mini games, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay, memory stuff. Where at some point I found out accidentally that you could actually click on the things and it shows some extra story stuff. We'll do it in the order of how I played each route. So it's gonna be Ikki, Kent, Toma, Shin, Ukyo. August 28th. I confessed to Ikki that I had amnesia. I was relieved that he was so kind about it, but he seemed a bit sad as well. After explaining my amnesia, Ikki told me about our experiences together. There were some things that I remembered and others I didn't. I listened intently so I could get back even the slightest bit of my memories of Ikki.
So that's what happened up until we started dating. To be honest, it's kind of tough on me to have to explain. It's like I'm telling you how awful of a man I was. Now I need to explain just how hard I was trying to persuade you, baby. Since June, I suppose. How hard I tried to get you to look my way, with some real-life examples. In fact, let me stay the night and we'll talk, how's that? V? Is that hesitation? Is it alright for me to hope? It's strange to say it myself, but I'm not in a slightly... Wait. But I'm in a slightly weird mood right now, so be careful. All you boys except Kent are super horn dogs. I was happier than I thought I'd be about you trusting me enough to tell me your predicament. I'll be happy to stay if you're okay with it. Are you still torn? Come to a decision before I leave. Sorry, was I staring too much? The sight of you pouring tea for me is just so cute. Can't help but look. I'm used to seeing you pour tea at work, but it's so rare for you to do it for me. Work must have been so hard without any memories. You really tried your best. If I knew, I would have given you much more support, baby. That's right. Why don't I show you how to properly make and serve the menu items from now on? Just like when I taught you how to make a parfait, or is there no need? Do it. I'm surprised. I didn't expect you to accept so easily. You've been doing your job so well lately, I don't think there's much for me to teach you. But if you're relying on me, then I want to live up to that. Now what should I teach you? Did you know there's a menu item that has the maid put sugar in his tea for him? It's off the menu right now, but the manager was talking about bringing it back. You've just poured tea as well, so that... Oh, but you said you weren't sure whether you could continue working next month, huh? If you'll be living with your parents, it would be difficult. But by the looks of things, perhaps I can be hopeful. Either way, I'll teach you. Here, hold a spoon. Put in as much sugar as the master wants. Lightly stir. It's normal up to this point, but there's a special finish to it. You take the spoon and it'd be faster to do it together, I'll hold your hand a little. You don't have to be so wary. I'm just touching your hand. At the end, you draw a heart in the cup of the spoon like this, and it's finished. You're not aware of it, are you? If you look up at a guy with those eyes, while turning a hint of red, he'll be helpless. End up wanting to kiss you and hold you. I think I'll ask the manager not to revive this item. To revive this menu item. I might be told I'm being selfish, but I'll ask if you could at least draw something besides a heart. Another menu item I could teach you is... Nothing comes to mind at the moment. Anything you'd like to try out? I can help you review too. I desperately want to spoil you, to look after you right now. I want to make up for hurting you because of what happened as soon as I can. Ugh. I detected immediately as I was speaking. I'm trying my hardest to endure the fact that I caused you pain, even though I love you so much. Also, as you are, without your memories fully restored, I want you to fall for me. I have but little time left, so I want to give you as much as I possibly can. Only because of that, the most horrible thought has been hovering in my mind. That I could comfort you over your amnesia and use that as a chance to make you fall head over heels. I know how to treat girls almost to a useless degree, so I thought I could get you that way too. That's how truly pressed for time I feel. I'm always like this. I want so badly to have you, and it's all I can think of. But I couldn't possibly use that low tactic in this situation. I couldn't even keep quiet about it, I have to tell you. I think the most I can do right now is to not hide my heart and tell you how I truly feel. Even if it's pathetic, even if it's cowardly, I just don't want to lie. I do think I'd I do think it'd be nice if you were moved by hearing me confess my weaknesses, though. But I know the princess will not fall simply from sympathy. Empathy. Empathy? I will be serious in trying to court you, and when it is not so easy, I'll fail. I don't know why some of this seems so awkward. The way it's phrased seems so awkward. And when it's not so easy, I'll fail. I will become depressed. So maybe it's just the way I make the, what is it, inflection? Probably. Then I can think about trying something else, another way to make you happy. Until now I never knew just how hard it is to get the one you love to look your way. How much joy you'd feel to even be given a smile. I'm able to understand now, thanks to you, baby. I love you, V, more than I can put into words. I can't help but wish for you to always stay by my side, if it's possible at all. V, at least let me stay with you for the next 2 days.
It's like, no, get out.
Even if you refuse, I won't hear of it, just this once.
Just screams, get out. Get out of my house. I don't remember where it is. I think it's a short story. I'm pretty sure my sister showed me like a bit of it, and I was just like, wow, Ikki sucks. And that's the reason why I really hate Ikki. And read you Kent next. Oh, shoot, I forgot to read the thing. August 26th. Kent came to see me when I got into an accident. My memories returned and the two of us talked a lot. I was really happy. When I told him I would stay overnight at the hospital, he was really surprised.
V, if there's anything I can do to take care... Is there anything I can do to take care of you more properly? If you wish, I could borrow your key and gather a change of clothes, or I could go buy some.
A change of clothes?
Right, a change of... no, I suppose it's better that I not touch a woman's clothing. Just so you understand, I had no ulterior motive in this. Don't misunderstand me. All I can think about is how embarrassed you would be having to grab underwear. Because grabbing the rest of the clothes, that's totally fine, man. Don't be so stuffy. It's just the underwear thing that probably there's gonna have, like, little problems of embarrassment. Oh, I just hit the stupid table. Just so you understand, I had no ulterior motive in this. Don't misunderstand me. I can ask a female acquaintance for necessary clothing of your size. Dude, I'll give you the key. It's fine. It would be easy to ask Sawa or Mine, would it not? I can at least convey a message to them. I could even ask my mother for help as well. Besides that, is there anything else I can help you with? I will fulfill any request within my ability. It has been a month since we started dating. I feel that today we finally become a couple that can communicate honestly with each other. I have been so inadequate until now. It is not exactly atonement, but I wish to do something.
There's been a lot of times where I was inadequate as well. So there's no need for you to do so much for me here, Ken.
But then this feeling will remain unresolved. Anything at all would be fine. Please tell me. Let's talk.
Talk about what?
I'd like to talk about...
Or I'd like to talk. We could stop there.
Would that really be enough? Furthermore, with that request, I believe it would only result in my happiness. I'm trying to take care of you. Why are you concerned about me?
Well, I really do want to talk with you, Ken. Lately we haven't had a chance to sit down together like this. I guess maybe you were thinking the same thing?
I see. I suppose couples do tend to think the same way. Then, anything would be fine. Let's talk. Coming up with a topic like this is difficult, but... I know. How about the subject of my potted plants at home? Lately the state of my houseplants have not changed much. This has been bothering me for some time now, but... Why have all the nurses who've come to check on you look like they wanted to say something? When I ask, they avoid the question. It can't be my imagination. They're intimidated. Your condition cannot take a sudden turn at this point. The test results have already been confirmed. It must be something else. Does it not bother you?
That's...
It's probably our hands. Visiting hours?
It might be that they're worried about visiting hours. They're almost over, so...
If that were the case, they would have told me sooner. It has to be something else. So it was the hands. No, that aside, there are visiting hours I had completely forgotten. If visiting hours are close to ending, we cannot stay like this. It's becoming late. I'd better go back to the front desk.
Alright. Kent, he left so quickly. I suddenly feel really lonely. But I guess it'd be selfish of me to ask him to stay.
You know what? I'm gonna end up going back to do that hands option. I'm back. Sorry that took a while.
Huh? Kent? Oh, welcome back.
At times, it still feels strange to converse with you like this.
Did you forget something?
No, not really. Why do you look so surprised?
Because I thought you'd gone home already.
What are you saying? I just went to get permission to stay the night. Well, even if your condition isn't serious, I'm still worried. I couldn't leave you alone here. Well, I admit that I myself didn't wish to leave your side. Yesterday, I was only given permission to just stay the one night, so the hospital wasn't very happy. But I was able to convince them. I mentioned that it would be best to consider your mental health, too. Your family is far away, and since you came here, your memory has been unstable and indeterminate. I told them you needed someone you could trust by your side at a time like this. I'm not surprised that they allowed me to stay on that basis. The information I presented is hardly refutable. That or they were intimidated. They're just like, I don't wanna argue, man. I'm scared. Look at him. Look how many buckles he has. Though they intentionally appeared grim, they couldn't help but agree once I was finished.
I'm glad. I feel better when you're near me, Kent. Thank you.
The way you smile so bashfully is very cute.
Kent!
From now on, I'll work even harder so that I'll be able to see that expression on your face more often.
But is it really alright for you to spend the night tonight? Of course I feel happy about it, but it must be a burden on you.
I told you it is what I want. It was a considerable shock for me that you were in an accident. Since your arrival here until now, I've stumbled over steps 5 times. I've missed turning a corner and ran into a wall twice. I almost went into the wrong room 3 times. Once I thought I had run into someone and apologized only to find it was a paw. Ditzy Kent. These are mistakes I usually never commit. The fact that he remembers every single one of them, too. Therefore, it can be deduced that I am more disturbed than I have ever been before. Just now, as I returned, I almost tripped over nothing. Even though your condition is not life-threatening, my mindset won't change so easily, it seems. Even if I did return home, I probably wouldn't be able to manage any sort of work.
Not only that, I might see the next day without the slightest bit of sleep. Thinking that something may happen to you while I'm gone makes me uneasy. Kent. I'm restless when I can't feel your presence as closely as possible. When I realized visiting hours were almost over, an unspeakable despair assaulted me. And the next moment my mind became full of trying to figure out how I could stay here. Are you going to laugh at me? No, I wouldn't ever laugh at you.
But I would. Oops.
I was thinking something similar myself. That if I couldn't be with you, I would be unbearably lonely.
V.
I'm glad I rushed to your side yesterday without thought. No matter what others say, I can clearly affirm it now. That is how much of a special existence you are to me. It might be strange of me to say something like this, but thank you for being safe. Also, I love you. V, you are more important to me than anything else.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do the hands option because now I'm really curious. If it's not visiting hours, why do they got issues with the hands?
It's probably our hands. I think they might be wondering about our hands. Once they look down at them, everyone seems to smile at us once they see it.
Our hands? Oh, you've been holding mine. Is there some sort of problem with you holding my hand? For me, I would like to stay like this as long as it doesn't upset you.
It doesn't upset me. I'd like to stay like this.
I see. That's reassuring. Then, let us continue holding hands without concern.
Okay. The visiting hours will be over soon.
Visiting hours. That's right, visiting hours. I'd forgotten. There's a limit to my being next to you like this. I'm sorry, I'll have to ask you to let go after all. If visiting hours are close to ending, we cannot stay like this.
I understand.
It's become late. I'd better go to the front desk. Kent's the oldest of... I'm pretty sure he's the oldest of the 5, and he's probably the cutest. Maybe it's my bias. I don't know. But I'm just saying, he's the cutest one out of all of them. He's the most... His intentions are always so pure. And everybody else, not so much.
The person I loved wasn't Ikki after all. I think I realized that I loved Toma, and I think he realized that too.
August 23rd. I thought all of them were like 3 days apart or something. Yo, you still have the cage in your room? Are you serious? What day are we? Is things over? Because I don't want to be here. Hey, why have you been staring at me all day? You're not acting like you usually do. Am I still in the cage? I hate this. This is the worst. You asked me something weird after your bath. Something couldn't have happened. You've been in that cage. Oh god, I am. Am I thinking too hard? But... V, if there's something you want to say, then go ahead and say it. I'll say nothing to you. I'm sure you have a lot of complaints, but you don't have to hold them inside. Just tell me. You can be angry. You can even condemn me. I already have, and I already am. But if I'm just mistaken, then please tell me. I can't sit still with you just staring at me like this. V, is there something you want me to do? Come closer. Closer. Whap! I hate you, you suck. Your food is the worst. Come closer. Is here good? Closer.
Honestly, what you're thinking right now, I can't read it at all.
You're not trying to win me over so you can get out, right? You don't look like you'd be capable of doing that. I'm sure I've said something similar before, but you'd better not be so easy on me. Or else.
Or else what? You're gonna lock me in another cage?
Why won't you run away? I already did. There might not be anywhere to run, but can't you resist a bit? Even from across a cage, if I reach out I can touch you. If you keep still, I don't know what I might do to you. Even then, why won't you try to move even in the slightest?
There is no space in here, buddy.
I'm locking you up in a place like this. Doing something it'd be natural to hate me forever. Wait, what? Doing something it'd be natural to hate me forever for. Oh. It's because I didn't finish the sentence. Doing something it'd be natural to hate me forever for.
Still sounds awkward.
You should be more careful of what happened if I get near you, if I try to touch you. Of what might happen.
I read the sentence correctly, it doesn't come out right when I say it. And then I read another sentence, I miss a word, and it just... Part of me doesn't see that there's a problem until I'm just like, wait a second.
If you don't turn away with disgust or something, I...
Place a hand on his cheek and then slap him.
Didn't you hear what I just said? Are you doing this even after I told you? It's your fault if I misunderstand. Or are you broken somehow?
A different twist. Touch his cheek and you're just like, I actually like this. Oops.
To the point where you don't know if you should be careful of me, if that's the case. If you are, would you stay with me forever? Would you stay in this room and not return to the outside world?
No. I may have sensitive skin, but I like having the sunshine and not just through a window.
Sorry, just forget that. What am I saying?
Also, how else am I gonna see dogs?
You can only see dogs if you go outside. I might be the one starting to lose it here. What do you mean starting to lose it? You already lost it. V, what do I look like to you? A scary criminal who locked you up? The same as before, or...
Kinky man.
Go to sleep for today. If we keep talking like this, it'll just get worse for you. You're really strange. Looking at you right now, I feel like something's about to break. In a little while, I'll be able to let you out. If I'm broken by then, I might not willingly let you out. If I start wanting to keep you in there forever. No, more than that, at this rate, I might end up doing something terrible to you. Something even worse than locking you up. Shakes head. I'd do something so terrible that you wouldn't care about anyone else but me. If I had you for myself, I could protect you forever too.
This has no redeeming anything for Toma. I still hate him. Ikki's one. Sure, he's been like a slight little horn dog, but he wasn't that bad. He apologized. He was cool. Kent, of course. Everything's all G. Toma, we just had to start where we just had to be in the cage. It just had to be. If we weren't in the cage, I'd probably be more civil. But but we are in the cage, so all of the hostility has come back.
You won't try to look away even after I said all of that?
I'm just staring at you in disbelief, man.
Just... Jesus Louises. I'm not planning to do anything to you when you won't resist.
What? What? Wait, what? What? Okay, what is in your brain, Toma? I don't understand. Like, we're, like, if we sat here willingly, and we're all like, yeah, it's cool, it's G, I don't care. Whatevs. But then the moment we start resisting, that's when you get your boner? Jesus Christ. I hate you, Toma. I hate you so much.
Just be cautious, even if it's weird for me to say. It's not like I want to hurt you.
You just said you don't want to do anything if I'm not resisting. That's exactly what he said, right? I have to look back because I'm so baffled right now. You asked why we don't turn away or anything, but then you say you won't do anything unless we resist. I'm also considering, like, if we start resisting and stuff, he'll do the T thing. But, like, why did you ask? Why are you asking? How come you don't run away? How come you don't try to stay as far away from me? Because you're so dumb. I hate you so much.
I'll turn off the lights.
Oh, thank God. Don't want to see your face anymore.
Good night, V.
Zero out of 10? I wish I never went through that.
In order to find out the truth, I decided to go back to Shinano. As I was preparing for the trip, Shin appeared. The time we spent together before I left was very meaningful. August 21st. Good timing. It looked like you weren't home, so I was going to call you. Did you go buy breakfast from the convenience store? Skincare travel pack? Oh, the kind that comes with the mini lotions. Must be hard to be a woman. There's so much you have to pack for just a one-night trip.
Take care of your skin, man.
Whatever. Can we go to your room? You can pack without worrying about me.
Did something happen? Are you gonna help me get ready?
What? You need help preparing for a one-night trip? How much are you planning to pack? This reminds me of our last trip. I watched you get ready that time too. You looked at me and asked what was so interesting. I was just excited about the trip. But I felt like I was the only one, so I didn't say. I think you had a hunch though. Right now, I just want to be near you. Maybe it's because I haven't seen you in a while. If I don't see your face, I get restless. I have to tell you these things, or else the you of right now might not know. Hey, are you worried about the trip? I know it was sudden. Do you feel confused? I guess you would be. But this might be the only chance to gather evidence from the incident. I need your help for it to work. I know you're worried because you don't remember anything, but I told you I'll protect you, no matter what, so don't worry. You almost finished? Then come over here. Sit here. I can't let my guard down tomorrow, so I need to charge up. What? You don't like me hugging you from behind? I could hug you from the front, but I might end up kissing you. Or is it you don't like being hugged at all? If that's the case, I'll stop.
I don't mind. I was just surprised. Also, before you decided to explain what our positioning was, I thought I was just sitting next to you, so I was kind of confused.
I see, and then I won't stop. Can I hold you tighter? I guess I already am, though. I'm really happy to hear you say that you don't mind. It's hard to tell how you feel about me touching you, you with amnesia. Your memories, they really haven't returned, right? You're probably not aware, but you're doing the same things as before the last trip. You're trying to decide whether to bring 1 or 2 hand towels. Also, you took the time to put your favorite shampoo into a smaller bottle. Even though that hasn't changed, the new you's still different. Sorry, I'm not trying to accuse you.
The amnesia you is so different, more affectionate somehow. More accepting.
Your movements, your gestures, they're so much like before your memory loss, so I felt nostalgic. It might have made me a bit emotional. Even though I know there's no point in rushing things. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say things that could upset you. If you've forgotten everything, then I'll just remind you. No matter how long it takes, I'll get you to like me. That's all. V, if I were to lose my memories, I'd definitely fall in love with you again. It's impossible for me to see anyone else but you. The reason I wanted to see you is a little more than just being restless without you. If I hesitated at all in regards to the accident, I think it'll end forever and solved. And neither you nor I would be able to move ahead. That's why I won't hesitate. I'll do what I need to do at Shinano. I just can't imagine how I'll react, what action I'll take once I uncover the truth. I've decided in general what I want to do, just not the specifics. Well, what you'll think, or what I should say. But if I'm with you, I feel like I'll find the answers to those questions. When I think of you, I'm prepared to take action, that's why. Stay with me for now. Let me hold you like this for now.
See, even Shin's one was sweet. I wonder how Ukyo's one is gonna go.
I spent the night with Ukyo. The reason I took off his handcuffs was because I believed in him. I now understand what he meant all this time. August 23rd.
Before I start, Ukyo, in comparison to Toma, they both have the crazy going on. But Ukyo has more of an excuse simply because he's died multiple times for the one he loves. And Toma is just a jealous boy. And he let that skew him. Ukyo actually had to die multiple times before, and not even just die. There's also, he's personally killed us throughout every time he's tried to make sure that we're alive. So, like, he has an excuse, but that still doesn't mean it's cool to do those things.
V, is something wrong? You fell asleep, huh? You were dozing off, then your body suddenly jolted awake. Are you trying not to fall asleep? Don't worry about me. If you're tired, it's alright to sleep. I'll be awake. If I fall asleep, there's a greater chance I'll come. Besides, sleep isn't a choice that exists when I would waste the time I have with you. Or is it that you can't sleep because you're worried about me? That would be troublesome. You need to force yourself to sleep. If you just hand me a sleeping mask, then I'll go to sleep. If you're not at your best, it will be difficult to get through the next 2 days. Even just walking around, there's a chance that a car or a motorcycle or a train might run you over. Run into you. Or maybe if you dozed off on a park bench, wild dogs could show up. That's possible too.
I could die that way. That'd be a good way to die. Painful, yes, but I'll accept it.
So you have to be careful. You're rubbing your arms. Are you cold? Is that why you can't sleep? It does get really cold at night. It's been strange weather for August. My senses have dulled a bit, so it doesn't bother me much. Here, you should at least put a blanket on. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to take the blanket from the bed. There you go. Let's get under the blanket together. I'm fine. I'm used to camping outside, so this is nothing.
Wow, wasted opportunity, man.
As long as you're warm, it's fine. Staring at me won't work either. I know you're not the type to just accept this kind of situation, but really I'm fine. You're too sweet. But I'm a dangerous person. Not just your life, but other things will be exposed to danger, okay? Don't look so depressed. Oh man, why are you so cute? If you keep looking like this, I won't be able to refuse. Just a little bit then. Would I even fit under the blanket? Are you alright? Are your legs covered? Don't worry about my legs sticking out. It can't be helped. Long boy. Too long. Well, if it really bothers you, I can try to ball myself up. I think this works. It's warm. Both the blanket and your kindness. Just, if I stay like this, the line between dreams and reality will become more vague. I never thought I'd be spending a night in your room, sitting next to you like this. Handcuff on one hand. I'm starting to think I might actually be dreaming.
Wait. I know it's just like a little detail thing. I just think it's funny though. Not mentioning the handcuff thing. Like that's part of the dream. Like, ah yes. Dreams do come true.
I'm starting to think I might actually be dreaming. If it is a dream, I promise I'll see you tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. Ever since I ran into you again in July, you've always been by my side unchanging. I'm sorry, I said something kind of creepy, didn't I? It's okay, I'll keep telling myself that this is reality, so... are you creeped out? You're creeped out, aren't you? For the you of right now, the events of July never happened. At this rate, I'm just a creepy guy trying to close the distance between us.
You're not creepy.
Thank you. No, maybe I shouldn't be relieved. If you're too nice to me, I may get carried away. I really truly love you. I love you so much, I even lost myself in the process. I kept reminding myself that as long as you were alive, I would be fine. But then I'd end up wishing to be by your side just a little longer and just a little closer. If you're willing to indulge me, would you mind if I got a little closer to you? I'll just put my head on your shoulder. I won't do anything else. Is that alright? Yes. Thank you. I wanted to reach out God damn it. I wanted to stretch out the amount of time I could spend next to you like this. I wanted to learn more about you. I wanted to know you more. I didn't expect to come this far only to feel the pain of giving you up to someone else. I should have gotten used to you becoming happy with someone besides me by now. The more time I spend with you, the more the emotions I thought I lost are coming back. I can't decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, though. It's painful regardless. No, perhaps this was good. I was able to create a new memory here with you. Even if I disappear, today will be left in your memories after all. V? Oh, did she fall asleep? Good, though I can't say that just yet. I have to make myself focus. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you something important. It may be hard for you to accept, but I'll tell you everything you need to make it into the future. And this time, you and I must finally go our separate ways. Thank you, V, for believing in me, for letting me stay by your side. If I can just remember this moment, I'll be able to keep going until the very end. 2 more days. I won't ever give up on a future where you can live.
If we're gonna talk about the sweetest one, it's gonna be Ukyo. It's gonna be Ukyo and then Kent. Shin, Ikki, Toma. That's how it goes. I'm just mad that the memories one had to, with Toma, had to be when we're in the stupid cage. Like, there's no sweetness to that. You could pretend there is, because the MC doesn't react badly, or at least the option I chose. She doesn't react badly. But considering the situation, it's all around bad. It sucks. Okay, now we're off to do extras, which I believe are their perspective and just their perspective. Shit. You know what? We'll keep going through the same order from who I did and then, you know, next. So, Ikki first.
To others and myself, it was a scene reminiscent of a romantic film, faded in color. The afternoon felt nostalgically sentimental. In the seat across from me, a girl with long hair tied up in complicated knots was sipping coffee through a straw.
Ew! I hope if it's iced coffee, okay, you get a pass. If it's hot coffee, what's wrong with you?
I was accustomed to parting with girls at this point, and this situation was no different. The coffee here's delicious, isn't it? Casually prompting her to drink, I looked softly at her face. You're welcome here any time. Yes. She gave me a watery smile and looked down at her coffee, giving it all her attention as if to hold back tears. As she sipped, the nearly empty glass made a clinking noise from the settling ice. Embarrassed by the sound, her cheeks turned red, and I truly found it adorable.
Why would that be embarrassing?
Despite that, there was no question in my mind that we would part. I did not have romantic feelings for her, though there was no question of her infatuation with me. Until today, we had experienced no problems in our relationship. From a bystander's view, it was surely a strange story. Furthermore, there are many others who wish to have a relationship with me, so to be bound to one person would be unfair. That was the reason I gave her. Even I think it's a selfish idea. But there has never been a girl who has objected to my selfish reasoning. And so the cycle has continued, starting again every 3 months. The confession, the companionship, and the breakup. There was no room for any change of feelings on my part. There were times when they would leave with a smile and times when they would cry. However, everything on my end was exactly the same each time. I spoke to her sympathetically. I suppose we should leave soon. Gently, I pulled the reluctant girl up onto her feet. I'll wait for you.
Oh god.
I'll wait for you.
I don't know who's talking. I don't know if it's just him who's talking or she, the random girl, has lines or what. So it's just gonna be him speaking the entire time, whether to himself or not.
She pulled out her purse, but I refused. Moments later, we stepped outside into the busy street. Amidst the sound of vehicles passing by outside the cafe, I smiled at her. I'll see you again. Take care. I was kind but definitive in saying those words, meaning we would no longer be in a special relationship the next time we met. She managed to force her trembling lips into a semblance of a smile. Yes, goodbye, take care. I pushed back the dull pain I felt in my heart into the depths of my stomach. I couldn't say that I was lonely. It wasn't a word I was allowed. I was the one ending the relationship for my own convenience. A thought in my head resonated faintly, that I wasn't doing this because I wanted to. What an excuse. No matter my circumstances, I was the one who decided to take this path, and I was the one hurting her now, so the details of my circumstances were nothing but excuses. What more, somewhere within my true feelings, I was even blaming her. You say that you like me, but you have nothing to say about us separating. You have no objections at all. I admonished her with unreasonable criticism in my mind, even though I was the one breaking up with her for my own benefit. It was impossible for me to utter such things.
The stutter, I'm just like, oh, that there is when the girl says something. But how am I supposed to know? I'm just gonna say it all as if he's saying it to himself.
Thank you very much. It was fun. Going out with a girl was, for the most part, genuinely fun, and became my preferred pastime to flirt, and I found all the sweet girls I could ensnare to be perfectly lovable. With as many variations of girls that existed in the world, I was fortunate to be able to try them all.
Oh, I think this is where I was like, wow, this is super douchey. Considering, though, how he's going throughout his life and how things are, maybe you could give him a pass, but I think this is still kind of a douchey thing to say, especially after you were lamenting about it.
However, for one moment every 3 months, everything had to become difficult. I had fun as well. Goodbye. Having delivered the words by force of habit, I left the scene without another glance at her teary, grumbling expression. I gave her even less sympathy than I should have. I had done more than necessary during our time together to make sure I left no regrets. As it ended, I let her go as swiftly and as calmly as possible. And thus it was over. After this end, another beginning would come. It seemed that one day of this, out of a happy 3 months, was unavoidable. Moreover, the reoccurring situation I found myself in was common knowledge now. There was always another girl who came to confess to me a day or two after a breakup. It wasn't as if I didn't care who approached me, but I'm able to find most girls cute in their own way. To be honest, I consider it one of my greater strengths.
Thinking of it as Ikki speaking to himself is really funny.
I really like you, Ikki. Yeah, I do. The girl in front of me looked up with a face full of nervousness. As expected, I found her terribly charming. Her face was as normal as any young lady's, but it was the way she gripped her skirt that I loved. Her name was Toma, if I recall correctly. I saw no problem in dating her. I could have a lot of fun teasing her, flirting with her, and so much more, just like with so many other girls. Until the last day of those 3 months, I heard a voice from somewhere else just as I was about to reply. Toma turned to look, startled. The person who stood at the other end of that gaze was a junior of mine from the place where I worked part-time.
Sorry.
Edging backward, she looked distressed as she tried to leave the scene.
I'm interrupting something, aren't I? I'll leave. Whoops.
I remembered vaguely that this was the path that she used to walk back home after school.
Work? What the hell? Where'd I get school from?
She was a rare girl, one on whom my eyes had no effect. I found it reassuring and interesting to talk with her. If she had asked me on a date, I would have kicked all others to the curb just to comply.
Wow.
That was how fond I was of her, by far from confessing any feelings. I was clearly aware she didn't like me, a fact which I found ironic. I was sure after witnessing such a scene, her impression of me being a playboy had grown even stronger. When I thought of this, suddenly everything else became so bothersome. We were in the middle of something, but don't worry, you needn't mind us. We'll be finished soon. Thinking I might be rejecting her, Teiko's shoulders started to tremble. Let's see, Teiko, was it? If I may be frank, you mean that you would like to date me, right? Teiko hurriedly nodded.
Yes?
When I date someone, I try to go as far as I possibly can with that girl. That is what I will think of our relationship. Knowing this, is it still alright with you?
Oh my god. Does he really? Does he really hit all the bases and go home base? Is that what he does every single time? Oh god.
I always make it clear from the start. There's no possibility that I could develop stronger feelings for you. I will not even put in the slightest effort to try. Even then, I ask, will they be fine with this? I'm currently single, so if you can truly accept these conditions, I wouldn't mind dating you at all. It was only for a brief moment that Teiko showed any hesitation.
Of course it's alright. That's more than enough. It'd be like a dream.
Is it so? This was usually how the conversation went. Afterwards, I would discuss with her the specifics in detail. We would exchange contact information, and it would be decided. A new 3 months would begin. It was a beginning with a predetermined end. Even though I knew I was beyond feeling any misery at this point, I couldn't help but wonder if the reason I felt so wistful was because Teiko was a bit my type. I did rather like the girl I had just parted with, though. Perhaps they both were. After I settled the routine details with Teiko with a clouded mind, I bid her a farewell. My junior, who had been quietly observing the conversation, finally spoke to me in a trembling voice.
You're the worst.
I blinked, somewhat caught off guard. I think that's the first time someone has said that to me.
No one's ever said that to you?
She glared at me. Her previously dazed expression suddenly turned into one full of anger. If no one's ever told you, then I will.
What you're doing is simply awful. You should be more aware of other people's feelings. Maybe you've never actually fallen in love with someone, but can't you imagine for a second what that's like? If you fell in love with someone and gathered enough courage to confess, and you were then given the response that you just gave now, can't you see? Can't you tell how horrible that is? Her voice disappeared into the air. If I fell in love with someone, if I was given the response I gave a moment ago, I had never given the thought of such an idea. Having been confronted so suddenly, I allowed myself to imagine it. To imagine myself falling in love with someone was quite difficult, so instead I thought of it from the outside, observing my furious junior. The vision of her loving someone, gripping the fabric of her skirt and confessing I love you, then the vision of her being responded to with, I will go as far as I can with you. How would she react? I'd be pissed. Kick you in the nuts.
Would she love that man enough to think that was all right? Would that man really take advantage of her innocence, of her pure feelings? God, I want to punch that man. As the thought faded away from my mind, I exhaled. You're right, that really is the worst.
Right?
It's so terrible, I wonder why no one said this to me before. This really is no excuse.
Right?
The reason no one had said this to me before, I knew fully well. It was because anyone who looked into my eyes lost all motivation to condemn me. This was the world that I lived in, a world where everyone supported me, a world where, even when I've done nothing, I'm praised. I'm given respect, and I don't receive the reproach and discussion that should be owed to me. A world where the only one who could control me was myself, no matter how hard I worked, I went unacknowledged.
You know, at the very least, Ikki understands that what he's doing is absolutely terrible. And he isn't someone who's just like, aha, yes, I can be with any woman I so please. And no matter what, they can't refuse, for my eyes, they are special eyes.
Because the flow of adoration was constant, there was no way of knowing whether a person truly recognized me. There was no opportunity for anyone to reproach me for a lack of effort. Those who did hate me and kept their distance would not go out of their way to denounce me. There were only a handful of people who would point out my flaws. She was one of those people. I really am the worst. You're right, it's exactly as you say. After laughing it off and readjusting the view of my own actions, I felt more and more deplorable. Even then I thought, I've been trying to show that I cared about my partners through my actions. But such an excuse was weak when on the heels of the abuse I had directed at Teiko in my frustration. I hope that you understand now. Why wasn't it she that confessed to me? It was a foolish thought to have after having just accepted another girl's confession. If this girl were to confess to me, I would treasure her with all I had. I would fix all the flaws she brought up to me. I would die rather than do something she didn't like. I would probably become the ideal partner. But such a thing was impossible. She would never fall in love with a man who would handle a girl's heart in such a harsh manner. I'm sorry for being so rude just now.
Wait, who's saying that?
I'm sorry for being so rude just now, I suppose. Not at all. I was truly the one at fault. I apologize for this unpleasant experience. It's okay. Well, I'll be leaving. Of course. Goodbye. As I bid her farewell, I felt the same painful reluctance that I usually felt when breaking up with a girlfriend after 3 months. I pushed down the urge to run after her and asked if she would be my girlfriend, considering. The urge only subsided after I could no longer see her retreating figure. No, that's right. I'm Teiko's boyfriend now. Remembering the person that had just now become my girlfriend, I took my cell phone out of my pocket. Once I learned that I was in the wrong, all I could do was appreciate what I had at that moment. To ignore the confession I had just accepted, pine after another girl, would make it difficult for her to ever like me. After 3 rings, I heard Teiko's voice, which already sounded nostalgic to me. I wanted to apologize about just now, you see. I want to take back that response I just gave. But why? Did I do something wrong? At Teiko's panic words, I couldn't help but smile. It's alright. I find her cute. I can care for her. No, that's not what I meant. I don't want to take back the idea of us dating. I want to take back what I said about trying to go as far as I can with you. I won't let myself think that way anymore. I'm not sure how much I can do exactly, but from this point forward, I do want to treat you properly. Teiko fell silent from the other end of the phone. Was it my imagination that she was even more surprised now than when I said such selfish things to her earlier? Well, for reasons of my own, I cannot take back the 3 months limit. The reason? Right, I should explain that as well. When are you free? Let's have a long talk. I want to learn more about you too. This was the beginning. I don't know where the road will lead from here. My heart might wear down from the 3-month cycle, and I may have become too familiar with selfish relationships to the point that perhaps I wouldn't be able to care for her properly. Yet, I wanted to become someone whom that girl would not despise. I would begin here first. I ended the call and returned my cell phone to my pocket, gazing regretfully in the direction she had left, and looked up at the sky. The spring sky was tinged a sweet violet blue, a sky I had seen time and time again, yet today I cherished it. I felt that this faded world was suddenly becoming more colorful.
Aw, poor Ikki and his stupid eyes. What? Seriously, what god made that wish for him? Is Orion's god, the Lord Nil, Is he the only one who can grant wishes? 'Cause in hindsight, maybe he should have thought over what it was, or was he just like, ah yes, wishes, I shall grant them all. At the very least, at least now, Lord Nil understands. Probably shouldn't just go around granting wishes. We don't want a Ukiyo situation again.
Whether I should go to return this umbrella today or not, that was the question at hand. The sky was visible from the laboratory windows, and it was spotted with clouds. Rain from this morning had ceased, come early afternoon, and it was bright outside despite it being the middle of the rainy season. She would probably not need this umbrella. Even so, should I return it to her? For a question that was not worth pondering, I had for some reason been contemplating it for quite some time. The first problem of the day was whether I should take a walk despite the rain. The me of last year would have not. The reason for my daily strolls was only for maintaining good health, and if not for training, it was certainly not a job. There was no overwhelming reason in favor of walking out in the rain. My reason for hesitating was due to the image of the girl I would meet in the morning suddenly coming to mind. She would most likely come. Her walk in the mornings was for her dog. It was an obligation.
Ugh, just reminding the dog thing. In-game and IRL, my sorrow for Doggo.
There was a high probability she would go, even in the rain. I had seen confirmation of that in similar situations before. Using this as a basis, I considered whether I should go. In other words, did I want to meet her or not? I deliberated for some time, then tired of contemplating the issue, and simply decided to leave. I put the question of whether I wanted to meet her or not on hold. That was this morning.
God, I don't know who's speaking, ever.
Walking in the rain, good for you.
Oh, walking in the rain?
Good for you. Sure enough, she was there, and she spoke to me in a somewhat sarcastic tone. Managing to keep pace next to her without thinking, I returned her sarcasm. You're also determined enough to walk your dog that you'd put it in a raincoat. How very diligent of you.
Oh, cute.
The dog, wrapped in a yellow raincoat, looked up at me with round eyes. I wondered if it was conscious of being spoken about. I thought this for a while, but the recent trend of treating dogs like humans is absurd. Is a raincoat necessary for a dog? It is a species that was originally born to live with fur. There is no reason to dress dogs the same way as humans who have evolved with a need for clothes. People say dogs are their family. But is including them simply a means to ease the loneliness of lacking a nuclear family in the modern world? To me, it is simply a sham. Thank you for your very important opinion. After once again responding with sarcasm, she gave a strained smile. Gotta understand, man. It's not just if you lack a nuclear family or a family of any sort. Even big families treat their pets as family. It's love. As you said, my dog probably doesn't need a raincoat, but it's convenient to put him in it. It's easier to wash him afterwards this way. Oh, I see. It's a question of convenience. I can agree with that. Also, I don't know how dogs get sick, but I'd probably try to, lessen that. I truly was agreeing with her logic, but she seemed to take this as yet another attempt at mockery. She fell silent, puffing her cheeks out. I fell silent as well at her childish expression. Why did I cause her to make such a face? Why would she not smile? Why was my gaze pulled towards her presumably upset expression? The way she was wearing a white poncho in the place of an umbrella, or the way her bag was dangling from underneath in a manner where it would not be in the way. Why did such little details remain burned in my vision?
Kent is so cute and so unknowledgeable about this sort of thing.
Every time I met her, I was consumed by these sorts of questions. Do you not need to use an umbrella? Your appearance is rather childish.
Oh, excuse you, ponchos are very helpful.
The topic I chose to change the subject only seemed to further upset her. Sorry I'm so childish. I used 2 hands to hold his leash, so I need both of them free. I see. A fair amount of forethought is needed. I doubt I could own a dog. If you think so, then you probably shouldn't own one. I'd feel bad for the dog, too. I didn't understand why our conversation became so caustic. I was somehow pushing on the buttons wrong. I understood this much, but I had no idea how to fix things. What would make her smile?
I mean, one of them would be, maybe, tell her dog is cute. And not talk about how you think that it's unnecessary to dress a dog in a raincoat and treat them like family.
As I pondered this and looked down at her, she glared back for some reason. She might have thought that I was glaring at her.
So intimidating.
I was finding myself at a loss when I heard a voice cry, "Ah!" from behind us. Turning around, I saw a young girl with a tearful expression looking down at the river flowing next to the walkway. It was simple to tell what happened by following her line of vision. A red umbrella was sailing away on the river. Did your umbrella get blown away? She also had become aware of the girl's state. When called to, the child looked over, scrunching her eyebrows. "What do I do? My umbrella, it washed away." "It did, huh? Just a moment." I looked on, puzzled, as she pulled back her sleeves. She was possibly trying to get off her poncho. What was she thinking? She must be joking. It was much better that I got wet than let her return home drenched. Thankfully, the rain was light. Use this. Before she was able to say anything, I thrust my umbrella toward the young girl. "But mister, won't you get wet?" "I'm not so weak that this amount of rain would affect me. My house is close by as well. I heard that children catch colds easily if they are soaked for too long. If that is the case, it is better that you use this umbrella. However, you'll have to be more careful this time so that it won't get blown away." I can give... I controlled her attempt to get a word in without a stare. I can give...
It's so hard to figure it out. Probably not that hard, but it is to me.
"I can't imagine that you're as sturdy as I am. Your house was, if I recall, further from here. Therefore, it is much more efficient for me to give her my umbrella here." "What? But..." "You don't need to be so insistent about it. Besides that, now that I have given my umbrella, I'd like to return home, but... Oh, that's not what I... Enough. You, go along now." Wait, wasn't that her umbrella?
Wait, who's talking? I don't even know anymore. I should have just stuck with just making it him speaking through all of the dialogue and not attempting to voice anybody else.
The young child, who had been looking conflicted, seemed pressured by my words and grabbed the umbrella. She was probably considering whether or not it was all right to accept something from an unknown man, as much as a child could consider such a thing. "Thank you." After having opened the umbrella, a men's-size Wally unfitting to her, the child gave an unsteady bow and ran off. Oh, I guess it's not ours. It seemed difficult for her to run with such a large umbrella. It may have been that the wind's resistance was too strong, and then she flew away. Perhaps allowing her to give the child her poncho and then having her borrow my umbrella would have been much more effective after all. While I regretted the error of my decision, the girl beside me pulled up her poncho even though there was no longer any need. What are you doing? Please listen to me, I have an umbrella.
Oops.
She spoke as if angered, and from underneath her poncho she produced an unfolding umbrella. A folding umbrella. Please use this. It was too late for me to realize that this is what she was trying to convey earlier. You'll catch a cold, please hurry and open it. I accepted the bluish-gray folding umbrella decorated with a droplet pattern and opened it. I had erred, after all. It's okay.
It's the thought that counts.
I should have listened to her properly and allowed her to give this to the child. Why did I always miscalculate my decisions when she was involved? I'm sure we'll meet again tomorrow, so you can just return it then. And I don't need any thanks. I was planning to give it to her anyway. Just return it tomorrow. Also, you're getting soaked, Kent, so you should take a proper shower when you get home. If you had just listened to me, I would have been able to pull it out earlier. As she spoke rapidly, she glanced over with a sullen look and added in a small voice. Still, I never expected you to do such a thing, Kent. You're nice. Am I nice? Hadn't I made a very large mistake in judgment, shouldn't I have listened to you? While I sincerely pondered over these thoughts, she turned around swiftly. Anyway, both of us should head home for today. Yes, you're right. This amount of rain was of little consequence to me, but I was not eccentric enough to walk around town with a woman's umbrella.
A real man will use any type of umbrella. It doesn't matter. Women's umbrella, not women's umbrella. There's no such thing. It's simply an umbrella.
Watching her bobbing white form walk off, I sincerely felt that I had erred in my decision. I had barely talked to her today. Why had I even come here? I don't know. I didn't want to answer that yet. Either way, that was the reason I was in possession of her umbrella. I was told to return it tomorrow, so it was fine to wait, and whether for better or for worse, the rain had stopped, with the forecast for tomorrow being sunny. Until the day that I would meet her tomorrow, she would not find herself in need of this umbrella. And yet the reason my eyes trailed to my cell phone was because if I said I would return it, I would be able to meet her again today. Since I was unable to see her for very long in the morning, I would be able to speak with her a little more if I did, even if it would simply end in another quarrel. Why did I hesitate, even already knowing the outcome? Why was my urge to meet her so great that I concocted reasons for it? Each day I asked myself this. I would suppress the barely visible answer deep in my heart. Am I possibly in love with her? Impossible. As I was on the verge of veering into a train of thought I shouldn't follow, there was a light knock on the laboratory door, followed by its opening. "Ken, hide me!" The man who spoke sharply as he came in was my friendly rival, Ikki. Closing the door behind him, he quickly began looking behind desks and glancing around the laboratory in an attempt to hide. There was only one reason I could give for his desperation. It was a woman. "Are you being chased?" "Yes, by quite a few. In fact, you'd be surprised at the amount." Ikki had barely managed to find a gap to squeeze into when suddenly the door swung open without a knock. "Is Ikki here?" How noisy. The uninvited guests were 3 female college students. As they had rudely barged into the laboratory wearing ridiculously flashy clothes, I responded to them curtly. "He's not here. Leave." Perhaps surprised by my forwardness, the 3 stopped in their tracks. "Are you sure?" "What a ridiculous question. I'm busy. Leave." The effect was immediate. Looking deflated, the trio shuffled their way back out. Ikki suffered some hardships as well, having to deal with fans without even a shred of common courtesy. After some time had passed since the door closed, Ikki appeared again, coupled with a sigh. "Thanks, that was a big help." "Why were you being chased?" "Well, I was asked to help with an assignment they didn't understand, but when I refused, they started to chase me. It was actually pretty shocking." "I had thought you fond of going along with a woman's advances, but I see there are times you turn them down as well." "I have my preferences." It was unexpected for him to look so proud as he said that. I thought he didn't have preferences when it came to women, and the members of the previous trio were by normal standards rather beautiful. EQ, let me ask you, is it generally annoying for one to use such small reasons as excuses to spend time with someone? Of course, the umbrella was on my mind when I asked this, though it applied to his situation as well. EQ lightly tilted his head. I don't know about in general, but if it was a girl that I liked, I would be happy to see her. Is that how it is? That is how it is. I wonder if she thought of me as a desirable partner. I had a feeling this was improbable. How does one deduce that another sees one as desirable? For instance, if a woman who was interested in you were to decide whether or not to converse with you, on what factors would she base her decision? Huh? Deciding on whether to approach someone? Let's see. For me, the kind of girl I like to talk to is someone with whom I can have a pleasant conversation. That was too broad a category. I then felt some disgust at the fact that I did not fit even in so broad of a category. Oh, no. Is it a nuisance to be approached by someone you regularly devolve into arguments with? Of course it's a nuisance. Use your common sense. What exactly are you trying to ask? Nothing, really, I dodged and carefully pushed the umbrella into a less visible position. Then let me rephrase the question. Is the desire to create small excuses in order to meet someone indicative of romantic feelings? I don't know. I think the girls just now were more curious than anything else. Well, I suppose it may be the start of falling in love. While tilting his neck, Ikki further bent his waist as if trying to peer at my face. I seriously doubt this, but are you in love with someone? Impossible. With this one-word denial without the slightest hint of suspicion, he murmured, Of course not. Well, romance and I seen as that disparate from one another. I figured as much, even I could see it. I considered that she was 7 years my junior, that we weren't on very good terms, and the whole idea came to look ridiculous. Of course it was impossible. She would probably think it was a nuisance. I put down the cell phone I was about to dial and pushed it toward the umbrella. Oh, so sad. I didn't have to think about it. If I was told that this was love, I would have no idea what to do. That was why I couldn't call her. That was why I wouldn't call her. I would no longer give thought to the umbrella. No matter how much anxiety I felt waiting for the next day, it simply must be a trick of the mind. That was what it had to be. But Ken, just so you know, I'm pretty sure love isn't all logic. I pretended not to hear Ikki's generously given advice, and shoved the umbrella deep into the gap between my books so that I would no longer give any thought to her. I hadn't yet realized that this was the problem in and of itself.
So sad, too much logic. Well, I really don't want to hear anything from Toma. I find that he doesn't really have redeeming qualities when it comes to the MC. Maybe when you don't involve her in anything, he'd be okay, but otherwise, he's just the worst. Who the hell is this?
I'm back, big brother. I heard a small voice coming up from behind. When I stopped to turn around, I saw a little girl arriving at the park, having just returned from kindergarten. Welcome back, you're early. When I come early, I get to see you here, right? I tried my best.
I still attempt to do the voice, even though I say, don't do it.
I patted her head in approval, and she smiled happily. Oh, this is one of the cats.
I think? I don't know. Is this one for kids?
Where's Shin?
Oh, where's Shin?
Shin said he was going to bring us some sandbox toys.
Then let's wait for him.
Okay. If I had actually planned on going to a friend's house after school.
Oh. God damn it. I'm already ruining it. How am I getting if? Where am I getting if?
And I had actually planned on going to a friend's house after school, but her small face was so excited that I decided to call it off.
Toma!
I heard another little voice calling for me, brought along by his mother. Shin was carefully carrying a large bucket toward us. Tiny baby Shin. You okay, Shin? I can hold it for you. I'm fine. When I tried to walk over to him, Shin shook his head and trundled over. He was out of breath from such strenuous work. Shin, you're amazing. You tried really hard. I can do it myself now. In the bucket were 3 shovels. Probably knew, too, if he came early that I'd be here, so he brought one for each of us. It was my turn to feel happy, so I patted Shin's head as well. It was still 3 o'clock. We'd be able to play a long time until the evening bell rang. That was how it used to be back in the day, I think. What? Shin was way too adorable. That would be impossible. Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine now. Couldn't help but grin at... Oh, that was Mine? Couldn't help but grin at Mine's genuinely shocked expression. It was so surprising to her that she was still muttering amazed noises to herself.
You know what? Same. You look at Shin and then you get told about how adorable he is, and you're just like, what? No. What happened to that cute baby boy?
So you were called Big Brother back then? Yep, even though we weren't real siblings or anything. I was like the neighborhood older brother. So the girl who came today called you that, too.
Oh. I don't know. For some reason I got confused.
As she said this, she looked to turn toward the far end of the office. At that moment, the girl in question was interviewing with Mr. Waka for a part-time job at the cafe. Yep, I was called her Big Brother by her, too.
She's a year ahead of me in school, right?
And a year younger than me. Get along with her, all right? That might be hard.
Why? She's not a bad person. Girls tend to hate me, usually.
No, it's fine. She's not the type to be bothered by such things. She usually gets along with everyone.
What? You didn't even deny that people don't like me. You're so mean, Toma.
Even if other girls hate you, you should just keep doing the things you like. In fact, I think it's admirable that you're aware of it, and still willing to do your own thing. Doesn't seem right to ask for any more. Anything more. What? After staring at me for a moment, Mina gave a disappointed sigh. That must be the reason why I'm not really all that attracted to you. Like, you're hard to get a raise out of, and you're kinda strict. But you've got good looks, and you're easy to talk to, so you're kind of both things. It's such a disappointment.
Thanks?
A ways away, the door opened, and the 2 that were inside stepped out. She bowed politely, and Mr. Waka nodded calmly. Looking up, she turned her head towards me and gave a cheerful smile. I got the job. I felt both relief and surprise and turned my gaze to Mr. Waka. He also gave a quiet nod.
How come during the routes he's only ever known as manager? That's every time his name has just been manager. It's never Waka. Even when we find out his name.
Toma, you seem to be blessed with a wonderful friend. Let us have her join our staff.
That's quite the quick decision.
When I choose a person, I usually listen to my gut instinct. There hasn't yet been a time when that instinct was wrong.
We'll have her start her...
Oops, still him talking.
We'll have her start her shift next week. Conveniently, Mondays are weekly meetings. I'll introduce her to the other staff members then.
Stepping past me, Mine walked up to her. After thoroughly looking her up and down, she smiled. I'm Mine. I'm a 12th grader, same as Shin. Looks like we'll be working together from now on. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Since you're my senior at this job, may I call you Miss Mine? Having been asked so seriously, Mine waved her hands vigorously in refusal.
What? No, you don't have to. I'm younger than you, so just talk to me normally. In fact, be more casual, otherwise I'll be uncomfortable.
Then I'll just call you Mine. Please feel free to tell me what to do, and I'll try my very best. Watching their conversation, with neither being timid, I considered that they might get along well after all. She was already friends with Sawa, so I hoped that even after I left this job, the 3 of them would do well together. On the way back from the interview, we meandering up the hill toward... What? We were meandering up the hill towards the setting sun. Congrats on the job. Thank you, Toma. Interviews are really nerve-wracking. As if finally relieved, she gave a small laugh. Waka, I mean the manager, apparently is super strict. Even though he gets a lot of applicants, he doesn't hire many. Oh. Whoops, that was Toma. That's okay. We can pretend. I see, I'm glad that I was then. Well, I figured you would be fine. Are you trying to flatter me? Would there be any reason for me to? Maybe. Not at all. She fell a bit silent, as if she were somewhat put off. I thought she might have been pouting, but I couldn't think of a reason why she would need a pout. This had been happening a lot lately. I used to be able to tell exactly what she was thinking, but as we grew out of childhood, it became harder and harder to read her thoughts. She probably didn't want things to stay as they were, but it made me feel slightly lonely. Now that I think of it, when was it you guys started calling me by just my name? What do you mean? I was just thinking that you've stopped calling me Big Brother. I guess that was just until elementary school. Once we started, I stopped calling you that. No, is that when? The time I was treated as an older brother by her and Shin seemed now to be very short. But the impact of childhood is terrifyingly intense, and even now I was caught up in its friendly spell. But still, you as a waitress, huh? Why did you decide to come to our cafe? I spoke aloud a thought I had been wondering about for a while. It had come as a surprise to me when she asked me to show her where I worked. I had the impression that she wasn't the type to do customer service even if we were to share the same job. Because you're there, Toma. Is it that you feel safer because I'm there? Well, I can understand that, but... Everyone was nervous at their first job. It would be reassuring to have a friend there. Shin worked once in a while at the cafe for the same reason. But you have to stand on your own. You'll be in trouble later on if you keep relying on me. Though she became completely independent, I'd end up lonelier than I cared to admit. When I said to her these words that I didn't even really mean, she fell into silence. I'd probably stepped on a mine, and it just upset her. She was pretty stubborn, and when she started sulking, it lasted. I had to avoid that happening at all costs. I thought to myself in a panic, despite the lack of change in my expression. That's right. Do you have some free time now? Let's celebrate. I thought she would ignore me, but instead she looked puzzled. It was my chance to keep pushing. Let's buy some cake and go to your house. It will be my treat. Could even buy you 2 or 3 slices if you wanted. Dude, cake. Her facial expression swam with indecision. She couldn't decide between being angry or having cake. God, same. Sorry, I don't know what I did to upset you, but it's my fault completely. I'd like it if you would forgive me. I'm not sure it's good that you don't know why I'm angry. Me too. But it's better to apologize than to not, right? You're always like that, Toma. Oh well. She sighed the words heavily, but that she sounded as if she'd given up meant that she had already forgiven me. I felt relieved and pushed my heart down out of my throat. I may be a pushover when it comes to her, but she's even more of a pushover when it comes to me. Oh, if it's awkward for me to be in your house, we could stop by a cafe somewhere. Is there a cafe you'd like to go to? No, it's alright. Come over to my place, Toma. Come over to my place. I'd be happy if she meant it in a different way. But it quickly shook the thought that had popped into my mind.
I'm pretty sure that's what she means.
If I thought those things, if I showed her I thought those things, I probably wouldn't be able to be with her like this anymore. At the very least, she wouldn't be asking me over so lightly, so I tried my hardest to crush those feelings as they came up. I don't like that it looks as if I was won over by food, but 2 slices of cake would be nice. The convenience store is fine, but if we go there, I'd like you to buy tea as well. The way her tone had a light sweetness around it was very dear to me. Can I come in? Yes, please do. I stepped into her not quite familiar room. This was the 3rd time I had come here, the first time being when I helped her move, the second when she called for me to help her with the circuit breaker in her room. I realized this was the first time I was invited over just to hang out. Have you gotten used to living alone? Somewhat. Oh, and thanks for helping me back then. It was unclear if she was referring to the circuit breaker incident, but she bowed her head towards me. You don't have to thank me for that. It was a good learning experience. Yeah. She sighed as she stood up straight. I really can't get out of the habit of relying on you, can I? I didn't even need to point it out, sorry. I really don't mind. I think I'd get pretty lonely if you stopped depending on me so quickly, so it's okay if you do for a while longer. I thought you just told me that I need to stand on my own. Yeah, sorry about that. I guess I was trying a little too hard to show off. She laughed a little at my honest apology. I pulled out the cake and eclairs from the shopping bag and placed them on the table. I'll go get some cups. Go ahead and sit down. She walked off toward the small kitchen while I sat myself down on the carpet and glanced around the room. She had been living with her parents all this time, but starting this summer she would be living alone. The room was full of new furniture, but the reason it felt so warm and familiar was most likely from her smell. It's been a while since I've used the cups for guests. Holding one cup in each hand, she walked back over. I thought she'd sit across from me, but for some inexplicable reason she sat herself right next to me. Though I thought at first that leaning against the bed would be more comfortable, our close proximity in this large room made me nervous. Oh my gosh. He's so consumed in their childhood that he's just completely ignoring all of the signs that she likes him. What a dumbass. Was I the only one weirdly conscious of this? From her strange silence, she also seemed to be slightly nervous. I wanted her to talk like she always did, but it seemed like she didn't feel like it. What was she doing? I'll open this up for us. Pretending I wasn't bothered by anything, I poured the pretty red tea from the bottle into her cups. You really like tea, huh? I've noticed most girls do. Yes, I suppose, but I don't mind coffee either. Again a short silence. Just when I could no longer endure it and tried to find some random topic to bring up, she reached over to her glass. Staring down at the deep red tea, she suddenly spoke. You had a girlfriend during your second year of high school, huh? It was neither phrased as a question or as a statement, so my tongue was tied for a moment. Traitor, it said. Why was it that it sounded like I was being condemned? It felt as if a small yet extremely powerful explosive had been thrown at me. I did, but we broke up. In fact, it wasn't just 11th grade, but even before then I had received quite a few confessions and dated a few people. I had meant to keep it a secret, but she was pretty sharp. Why did you break up? Well, because, we just naturally drifted apart. Naturally drifted? You couldn't contact her, even when you were in the same class? You know that my ex is in the same class as me, even? I just happened to find out. So many signs! The one person I didn't want knowing found out, huh? I thought regretfully in the corner of my mind. I wanted to hide this from her if I could. Why it was necessary for me to hide it, though, was something I couldn't rationally explain. You started disliking her even though you liked her before? Well, I felt no matter how I responded, her reaction would be terrifying, so I decided to tell her the truth. There was someone else that I liked. That's why we dated for a time, then we broke up. Hearing this, her expression became even steelier. I stepped on another landmine, didn't I? You're so stupid! So you went out with her even though you didn't like her? It's not like that. Crap. I might have not been able to dodge this one, after all. Decided to confess more of the truth. It was still kind of despicable, but it was better than being misunderstood. I don't stand a chance with the person I love the most, but I can't give up on her even though I need to. So in order to forget, I went out with another girl. I told her this at the beginning, though. I said that there's actually someone else that I liked, but that I'd worked hard so that while we were dating, she'd become who I liked the most. But it was impossible. The one I loved the most never changed. I broke up with her because things got too serious. I see. I couldn't fathom what she was thinking as she took a sip of her tea. She looked as if there was a lot she was thinking about, and I was finding each expression cute. I'm terrible, aren't I? Do you hate me? No, I don't. I feel kinda relieved. But I'm a little scared the hurdles seem high. What are you talking about? Nothing, I was just thinking that I need to try harder.
She just directly said it. Are you serious? I don't even know what to say anymore. She basically confessed. And he just keeps ignoring everything, and he could probably, you know, hint a little harder at who he liked, and maybe she would get it. They're both supposed to be kind of sharp, but... sigh. They had just confessed earlier to each other, we wouldn't have to have dealt with the whole cage thing. And the tea thing. Do you want a boyfriend too? Her eyes went wide as she looked up. Was what I asked that surprising? I asked her under the pretense of normal conversation too. I do, but I also like being with you, Toma. With this, she leaned onto my arm. I felt a momentary lightheadedness from her soft weight. We really should have gone to a cafe instead. The desire to embrace her was utterly overwhelming. Geez, still at this age? I laughed as if disbelieving of her and reached towards the cake I bought. Couldn't let myself be fazed by this. Don't deceive yourself. She doesn't think of you like that. You are deceiving yourself. I'm gonna strangle you. So upset. Come on, let's eat the cake. We went to the trouble of buying it. I placed it gently in front of her, and she gave a small nod, sitting back up. I felt infinitely relieved once we were separated. I wondered how much longer we could stay like this. I would have to get stronger before she drifted away, so that when I saw her with another man, my heart wouldn't break. I'm trying to better phrase how I feel about Toma, considering, like, all of these things. It's just... reading more into his perspective, he's in super denial. At some point, he even mentions how he's still kind of in that bliss of their childhood. And because of that, like, he doesn't just take note and move on that this is happening. He's so stuck with wanting to be close to them, being the big brother and stuff, and because he keeps ignoring it, he completely misses the fact that the MC just straight up said, basically said, I'm glad about the whole girlfriend thing. I guess I'm gonna have to try harder for your attention or whatever. And during that entire thing, he could have implied a little more. He's just so stuck about possibly ruining their relationship that he's messing it up for himself, and he talks about not deceiving himself, and he does it anyways. Shin had bigger balls than him. I'm pretty sure Shin thought about how, I know it's possible that a relationship is gonna get messed up, but I'm gonna do it anyways. The suck thing for Shin, though, is that the MC in his world was scared about losing the connections, while Toma got to have the MC that actually had, like, feelings for him. I just wish that Toma's route hadn't been what it was, because his compared to everybody else's really sucks. There was, like, no redeeming anything for it. Like, sure, it ended happy-ish, where they confessed to each other and like, oh, wow, you liked me this entire time? Wow, I liked you this entire time. That's not gonna change the fact that he locked you up, the tea, like, he drugged you and everything. Like, wow. At least when Ikki had a moment of, like, a lapse in his usual, how would I say this? in his usual personality or whatever, mental whatevers. It was for good reason. It was because the MC was so incredibly injured and he knew exactly who did it and he was going to get revenge for that. So, okay, that's fine. Ukyo, who has dealt with being killed and killing the MC, developed this secondary personality that's just trying to survive. But overall, he's been trying to do this for the MC, and he's been fighting against this desperate want to survive. Toma just, I guess there's just that part of him, and it got triggered, so he ended up doing all that stuff. And it's still stupid though, and I hate his route so much. I just wish it wasn't there, or like it was done differently, because I can't get over how much I hate it. And I can't wait until I'm done with him completely and I don't have to be reminded. Probably will be reminded, considering. But, like, every time he comes up, I cannot help but be just overly hostile. I just think he's so stupid. What a dummy. Lock me up. Lock you up. Got 2 more to go.
When the doorbell rang, it was 30 minutes past 10. No normal person would stop by so late, so it was obvious who it was. Without using the intercom or even looking through the peephole, I turned the lock to open the door and invited her in. The sight of her there came as no surprise.
Oh god, too much Shin dialogue. It's gonna hurt me a little bit. Shin.
The familiar face from my childhood looked up at me and beamed.
Wanna go see a movie?
Without so much as a hello or an excuse me, she barged her way into my house. She lived nearby and was a year older than me. The Myoga University blazers she wore meant she was on her way home from school. And the guitar case slung over her back answered any questions as to why she would still be out this late in her uniform. After practicing with her bandmates, she had probably met up with them somewhere. The look on her face showed how much fun she had, and my heart twinged a little. Why all of a sudden? Even though I sounded irritated, she was completely unfazed.
Someone gave me a ticket, but only one. I'd feel lonely by myself, so I wanted to know if you'd come with me. I'll pay half, okay? I'm sure you'll like it.
The movie title on the ticket was of the season's #1 blockbuster, an epic space fantasy movie. It was heavily marked on its flashy SFX and action, so I knew it wasn't something I'd hate. But I pushed the ticket back with a sigh. Isn't there anyone else besides me? Why don't you go with one of those girls? The reason I refused was because I didn't want other people to look at us and think that we were a couple.
The heck?
To still be hanging out with a childhood friend at this age was embarrassing, and I was still immature enough to be nervous at the thought of seeing a movie with a girl. And because I knew it was inconsequential to her, I was even more resistant to it. It seemed to hold no other meaning to her, as she told me. All of my other friends have Christmas Eve plans with their boyfriends on the 24th, so there's no one else to go with. I wanted to ask her, don't you see what that implies, going to see a movie with a guy on Christmas Eve? But of course she wouldn't have thought that. I probably wouldn't have either if this were a couple of months ago. Why would you accept a ticket for a movie on such an awkward day and just the one? Was it a guy who gave you that, or a girl?
A guy.
Don't you think he has a ticket for the seat next to you? Did he ask you to go with him? She looked uncomfortable for a moment. He didn't say anything like that to me. Well, I guess maybe I thought he might have meant it in that way, but... When he gave me the ticket, I said, "Oh, this looks like a movie Shin would like," and just left it at that.
Why?
Well, isn't that date a little suspicious?
It was suspicious. The guy definitely had his intentions.
If he meant it the way it sounded, it would have been awkward, so I just blurted out your name, sorry.
You shouldn't avoid the issue like that. Isn't it better to turn him down properly? I couldn't help but feel sympathy for the man who worked up the courage to ask her out. She scrunched her shoulders uneasily.
Turn him down? I couldn't do that. Why is there quotations right there? I want to believe that he didn't mean it that way. It's part of the band after all. He's part of the band after all.
Ah, I get it now, I thought to myself. My stomach dropped a bit. The image of her standing and singing in front of the band was so explosively powerful that it consumed my mind, even knowing all of her flaws from childhood. If it was like that for me, it's not surprising that a guy who saw her singing every day would have those kinds of feelings for her. But she simply wasn't prepared to accept those feelings, and to protect his feelings and their friendship, she pretended as if his invitation wasn't real, and asked me instead. I got it, I'll go. I got it, I'll go. I took the ticket from her and checked the time and seat number. I'll call the theater to see if the seat next to you is open. Let me borrow this for a sec.
Yes, thank you.
I felt a pang in my heart when I saw her smile in relief and buried it deep down. Turning my eyes away from her, the fact that I was now starting to be aware of her as a woman was something even I was conscious of. I was even aware of my jealousy towards the person who bought the ticket. He was on his way to heartbreak, but even so, he was cherished enough to not want to be lost as a friend. He spent so much more time next to her than I have. The bigger difference was that he was thought of more as a man. Where being with him on Christmas Eve was wrong. Yes, that seat is fine, thank you. Days later, that seat suddenly became open again, and I was able to reserve it for myself. A part of me felt sorry for him, but another part of me thought of him as a rival. I checked the time around 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Although she was probably in the middle of practice, I gave her a call.
I can't come to the phone right now, but...
I let out a sigh as the message played, then told her that I got the ticket. After I hung up, I wondered whether its original owner was right next to her now, listening to her sing. He might be looking at her with mixed feelings, checking himself with a stiff smile. Could never take his position. I pulled the strap of the bass guitar against the wall and plucked at the strings, turning my ear towards each deep pitch. But the sound that my untrained fingers spun out seemed hopelessly cloudy to me. The city was soaked in lights and the distant color of choirs. In the alley at the back door of the cafe where she worked, she stood waiting for me. She wore a deep red dress the color of wine, and I wondered if it was a conscious decision based on the day. The bag on her arm, decorated with white roses, shone in the dim alley light. Above her chest sat a rose-shaped pendant, presumably matched to her bag. My already embarrassed tread slowed to half, and I looked over her clothes from top to bottom. What's with the outfit?
Oh, is it weird?
It wasn't weird. It was a perfect outfit for meeting a guy on Christmas Eve, almost too perfect. It was unbearably cute.
When I told my friends that I was going to see a movie with you, they all told me to wear this and that.
Most likely her friends were counting on a story of love blossoming between longtime childhood friends. They probably thought it was amusing that our relationship could change dramatically as a result of this date.
I told them that it was weird for me to dress up like this when it was just you, but...
I wanted to ask what was so weird about it, that it was Christmas Eve, so dressing up wasn't something out of the ordinary. But I couldn't tell whether I wanted to say it because of my feelings of love, or because seeing an old friend like this was surprising. My feelings were uncertain even to me.
Do I look kind of strange?
No, you're fine. I hid my true feelings behind a short reply. My attitude toward her couldn't change. Forget about that, let's go to the theater.
Right.
I left the alleyway and she obediently followed. As we entered the main street, the once distant clamor was now spread before us. It was impossible to not feel annoyed at the bustle of the holiday.
What annoyed me more was the sight of a man waiting for us in front of the theater. Guitar case slung over his shoulder, leaning against the theater wall, he spotted us and stood up straight as if startled. I didn't have to ask who it was. I knew. It was the guy who originally asked her out for tonight.
Sorry, I just needed to come here.
I was sorry too. She stood motionless next to me.
Is that kid your childhood friend Shin?
It took me off slightly to be called that kid, but it wasn't a lie that I was younger. It's nice to meet you, I said. I've seen you on stage before.
Oh, you came to the concert? Thanks.
I didn't come to see your concert. I came for my friend. I looked at him silently with contempt, but as I watched him, he appeared to be more dense than I first considered him and showed no signs of noticing.
Close childhood friends. It's kinda nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a movie on Christmas Eve, if anyone else saw you, they'd think you were dating.
It was she who voiced her dissent.
But we're not.
Hearing her deny it so matter-of-factly was a sudden blow to my heart.
If that's the case, then does that mean that I still have hope?
Of course you can't, I thought.
Oh, well... You kinda avoided it before, but I do want to say something to you. The truth is, I want to. She's like, nope. Nope. Oh, gotta go see the movie. Shin, we better get going or we'll be late.
Hey, a bit obvious, don't you think? I muttered as we turned, but I don't think anyone heard me. Pulling my arm along with her, she shook off the man running after her and headed towards the theater entrance.
Wait, I'm not finished yet. Sorry, I'll see you at band practice. If you won't stop and listen, I'll just say it. I'm sorry, we're going to be late. The thing is, I really like... Nope.
I was the one to stop in my tracks now. She was walking at a hurried pace and stumbled from being pulled so suddenly.
Shin.
I pretended I couldn't hear the reproach in her voice.
She doesn't want to hear it, alright? The man trailing after us also stopped moving at my cold words.
All she'll do is turn you down, so stop pushing it when you know it'll only upset her. It's disgraceful.
Why you?
Also, she's mine. Figure that much out. This time it was silent. I was lying, of course, but it was the most effective way of dispensing him of here.
See you.
I took her hand from my arm and held onto it, though it was sudden she didn't complain or show any surprise. That the man had stopped following us was probably what she was happiest about. She looked up at me with an expression on her face that said thank you. Damn it, I spat inwardly. This can't be. The man who had been turned down so unceremoniously was actually ahead of me in her eyes. He was considered a man. If he were the one with his tight grip on hers, she probably wouldn't be smiling at him like this. Even though I had lied to him out of possessiveness, from the look of gratitude on her face, I saw no trace of doubt. In her eyes, I saw only trust. And I knew she didn't regard me as a man.
Thank you so much, Shin. To think, though, us being a couple. So hurtful. So unintentionally hurtful.
My irritation grew at the way she said it, so carefree. No matter how close we were, no matter that we were on a date on Christmas Eve, she felt safe because she thought I was safe. I was like family. If we were family, it would mean that as the years passed, we would grow distant. I wondered how long she was planning to keep things this way. Even if this guy wasn't her type, if someone who were to show up, she would be happier with him. It was natural for us to always be together now, but one day we would go our separate ways. If this distance didn't change, nothing would. If I asked you seriously to go out with me, what would you do? Hearing this, she looked genuinely puzzled.
Do you really want a girlfriend that badly? I'm sure you'll find a really nice girl, Shin.
It was the worst possible answer. She didn't even think of us that way in the slightest. I'm being supported in dating another girl. Forget it. Let's just go see the movie.
Huh?
I tightened my grip on her hand. Trying to change the relationship we've built was probably not a good idea. If I tried to bridge the gap between us, it would potentially ruin everything. No matter how painful that might be, I will not let go of this hand. The day when I would no longer be able to suppress these growing feelings inside of me didn't feel so far away.
Ugh. It's not that deep, but it's still really hard to do his voice. Also, man, see, Shin actually goes out of his way to say something, but then, like, he gets brushed aside because she doesn't see it that way. Toma didn't even try. There's a possibility that if Toma had actually tried to, mention something, the MC might have been like, oh, I see where you're going. I see what you're playing at, because that's what I was playing at too. Why do you think I sat next to you, dummy? I could have sat across the table. Okay, last one, and then we can do the minigames. I had a dream. You were walking along the tracks in the bright afternoon light and passed in front of me on your way to the train station. I was so happy to be able to see you again, so happy that I could cry. I closed my eyes. I was having a dream. The bus, full of warm sunlight, gently rocked back and forth on the bumpy road, and there was no other passengers but me. As the bus stopped at a light, through the windows I could see your figure sitting at a cafe talking to someone. Long hair, sparkling eyes, your cheerful face, your smile. I was able to see you again, I thought to myself. What bliss. Once again I was dreaming. Quite rattling. The bus swayed and moved onward toward its next destination. Now that I think of it, the first time I met you, I showed you how to get to the bus stop. I don't know my way to the station. The worried look on your face was charming. When I told you it was dangerous to travel alone, as you could get lost, you suddenly laughed and assured me you knew that someone would help. Your innocent belief in the kindness of others was surprisingly new to me. It's difficult to believe in others. It's difficult to continue loving someone. The bus swayed more than usual. There was an intense screech, rattling, a thud, a crash, breaking, crushing, fluttering. I saw the driver crawl out of the upturned bus from his window. He ran toward me, then stopped as he saw me. He was probably speechless. I couldn't see his face, so I couldn't tell for sure. The driver ran toward the main street and shouted something in a loud voice, and I was left alone, crushed under the bus. Perhaps he had gone to call for help, but I knew he wouldn't make it in time. My legs wouldn't move. I couldn't feel anything past my waist. I knew even if I tried to pull myself out, I wouldn't be able to. The bus didn't look like it was leaking gasoline, which was fortunate, so I would probably die from the blood loss alone. I knew this would happen from the moment I got on the bus. If there had been any other passengers beside me, I would not have boarded, but there weren't. The universe is exceptionally cruel. If you show weakness, no, even if you don't, it is in its nature to destroy that which is foreign to it. Today was August 22nd. I would leave this world with 3 days to spare before the time limit. Even then I was glad for this time around. I was able to see so much of her smiling face. It was short, but we exchanged words as a waitress and a customer. It was so difficult to hold back my tears when she directed her voice towards me. I wanted to hear her more. I wanted to touch her. Even once I wanted her to call my name. But that was a wish I had long given up on. I couldn't get close to her, and the closer I did get, the more danger I put her in. That was why I had to die so quickly. The weather was nice today, and I was able to see her too. Up until today was enough, I thought, so I embarked on a journey with no destination. As I opened my eyes, the blue skies of summer were spread across in front of me. If I could leave here with this blue being the last I see, I would be at least a little happy. The blood flowing from my legs started creeping up my back, and the unpleasant sensation brought me back for a moment. The pain was distant, but the final pangs told me to keep struggling while I still had life. Failed again, huh?
In a darkness devoid of any sense, a soundless voice spoke to me. You have been resurrected. Your wish was not fulfilled. That is why this cannot end yet. I cannot separate from you just yet. Even when he had gone through the same experience, the same pain of death, the reason Nil could speak so indifferently about it was because he was an existence akin to a god. Inside this muddy darkness, only Nil let off any light, though it was hazy. I'm unsure whether light is the correct word, since most of my senses were fading. In the times before I reached a new world, I basically did not exist. My magic has nearly been depleted. At this rate, we will be unable to escape from this place. We will be bound to drift eternally in this darkness. I wouldn't like that, I thought, feeling heavy and cold. Even though I had experienced the pain of death countless times, I didn't like this idea. Being unable to disappear was frightening. The thought of there being no end was terrifying. I would rather have this endless loop of living and dying continue, rather than be in eternal darkness. That's why I think I'll gamble on this one last time. Was that no? That's why I think I'll gamble on this one last time. One last time? Did we even have anything left to gamble with? Let's go back to that world, the world where you were with her. But that world is... She has already died there. That is why I must rewind time. In doing this, I will use up all of my power, and I'll most likely end up in a comatose state. However, it is all we have left. A comatose state? Did this mean I wouldn't be able to talk to him like this anymore? That isn't all. If you fail in that world, we will not be able to escape any longer. From this darkness, from this eternal terror? Yes, that is probably what would happen. But there is nothing else we can do. If we let this go, then we will truly lose our last chance. I would no longer be able to see her? Yes, that is what would happen. Oh, that would be miserable. The reason I was able to continue living like this, even when I could barely keep a grasp on my sanity, even as my soul continued to shatter, was because of her existence. I wanted to see her. With that simple goal in mind, I continued to live and to die. Are you scared? I'm not scared. If I could meet with her one more time, I would be happy, no matter what would be waiting for me at the end. You've already given up, haven't you, on being saved? It's something I wouldn't wish for. I couldn't wish for happiness. Only if I could see her become happy, that was all I needed. Even if you've given up, I won't. Ukyo, I promise I will save you, and if I cannot save you, I will end it all. Thank you, Nell. I was truly grateful for those words. Let's go, Ukyo. This is our last journey. Yes, let's go. To meet her one more time. What's wrong? You keep spacing out. I came to my senses and saw a face peering at me. Oh. What's wrong? You keep spacing out. Possibly? I was reflected in her beautiful eyes. I was close enough to her to see us both at the same time. Surprised, I took a large step backwards. Oh, watch out! Huh? The moment I stepped back, my footing shook for an instant. I remembered that this park had stepping stones that were dangerous after a rain. Even in the absence of rain, it was easy to trip if you weren't careful. And in that moment... Ukyo! Trying to stop me mid-fall, she hurriedly extended her hand. I was glad, though no matter how you looked at it, I was too heavy for her. I wrapped myself around her before falling onto my back. Thankfully, I was able to cushion her fall, but was she all right? Are you okay? We asked each other simultaneously. She did look extremely worried, but she didn't look like she was in pain, which meant she hadn't hurt herself. Knowing this, I sighed with relief. Ukyo, do you hurt anywhere? Yes, a little. I think I hit my back on the rock here. On a rock? That must have hurt. This is nothing. I don't think I've broken anything. It wasn't enough to leave a dent, much less break anything, but if I tried to get up, I would probably just fall over again. So I laid down on the grass instead. Gently, she pulled herself out of my arms and sat up next to me. Ukio? I smiled. I'm fine. I'm just taking a break. I'll get up in a moment. Okay, I'll wait. She was adorable, sitting next to me with a worried expression for a while. Feeling a bit mischievous, I reached up and lightly pulled on her hair. At first she showed resistance, but after a second she leaned down towards me with some hesitance. I placed my hand behind her head and gently kissed her. I was so worried about you. I know. I'm not going to die. I promised that I would keep the two of us safe. I wouldn't waste my life like I had done before so that this happiness would not end so easily. If possible, and for as long as possible, I will stay by your side until the end. You know. Yes? No, it's nothing. Whether sick or healthy, I would stay with her until the last moment of my final breath. I'm so happy. Etching into my eyes the vision of the days Azur sky and your smile with the feeling of bliss, I closed my eyes. Was I still dreaming?
I feel bad because the entire time my voice was starting to get it was for a while now. My voice is really strained, but it was very obvious with Ukio's. Well, so we're done with all of the extras, and all we have is the mini games. So I'm gonna put on the voices so we can actually hear what everyone actually sounds like, and it's not just me making voices or an attempt at doing male voices. So most likely everything that I did wasn't close considering. But I guess if we were thinking pitch-wise, I'm wondering if Shin has a deep voice or anything. So we'll see.
お前相手でも容赦しないけど、いいのか？全力でやるからな。いくぞ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。よし。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。やばいな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。くそ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。やばいな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。くそ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。マジかよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。マジかよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。マジかよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。マジかよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。マジかよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。よし。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。もらった。せーの、じゃんけん。ここまでみたいだな。つか、お前マジで強すぎ。
俺を選ぶなんて、ほんとお前は物好きだな。じゃあ始めるぞ。それじゃあ、いくぞ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せ せーのじゃんけんぽん。おっ、せーのじゃんけんぽん。え、せーのじゃんけんぽん。え、せーのじゃんけんぽん。しまった。せーのじゃんけんぽん。え、せーのじゃんけんぽん。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。え、せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。しまった。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。おっ、せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。え、せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。え、せーの、お疲れ様。おめでとう。素直に負けを認めるよ。
私と戦うのか？悪いが勝たせてもらうぞ。いくぞ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。やられた。せーのじゃんけんぽん。想定済みだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。こんなはずでは。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。こんなはずでは。せーのじゃんけんぽん。まさか。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。こんなはずでは。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。やられた。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。なぜだ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。まさか時間が来たようだ。まさか私が負けるとは。
嬉しいな。君と勝負ができるなんて。負けないからね。いくよ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。はっ。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーのじゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーのじゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。せーの じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。あいこでしょ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーの、ここまでみたいだね。今度勝てるコツを教えてよ。もちろん二人きりの時にね。
君と遊べて嬉しいよ。絶対に負けないからね。じゃあいくよ。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。やった。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。しまった。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。しまった。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。しまった。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。あいこでしょ。そんな。せーの、じゃんけんぽん。時間が来たみたいだね。負けたけど君の笑顔が見られたからよかったかな。
なあ今背中つつかなかった？
I was wondering how these things work, so I'm just... How do you know when?
何笑ったの？
Oh.
いきなり触って何？もしかして歩くのが早すぎたとか？
Okay, so that's how that works. So, I guess it's just you just hold control and then left click. It doesn't matter where, you know, just play the voice. Anyway, before we end this, I'm just gonna choose my favorite picture to put up real quick. Or maybe we should do this one dedicated to Ukyo. I'll just dedicate this one to Ukyo. My ending thoughts. Actually, let's not do that yet. Let's do... Because I closed out Audacity when I was playing Junkin Po. Voices. I've just been really convinced that Shin would have a deep voice, and the fact that it wasn't deep, I was like, huh. Toma's one I could see. It is not very startling. Kent's one, I just, like, for some reason, I was really surprised, but I shouldn't have been. I didn't expect Ikki's voice at all. It was a lot higher than I thought it was gonna be. And then Ukyo's one, I found that out beforehand, that he would have a pretty high voice. It's not high, like really high, but it has like this softness to it. Now, outside of that, my overall feelings about Amnesia Memories is I really liked it, despite my frustrations. My only frustrations really stem from Ikki's route, because the girls are annoying. The fan club is just, ugh. It's the worst. I'd actually prefer Rika in the original worlds. Because she's, one, she's nicer. Two, she's her friend. And three, she isn't out to murder us. And she actually tries to put the fangirls in place. Unlike in Ikki's world, where they're all murderers. Just terrible people. And I already talked about how I wish Toma's route hadn't been what it was. I know there's people who actually like characters like that. What do you call it? Yandere. They actually like them like that, but I don't. I find them annoying. They're hard for me to like, because as much as I like the whole absolutely loyal and dedicated aspect of the character, I don't like it if they're just gonna be overly possessive and murderous. Because the one who's supposed to be that way is supposed to be me. I'm the one who has to get angry or murdery. Why would I want a significant other who's gonna do that and trick me into drinking tea? Leave me alone with that tea. I don't need that. I have a softer spot in my heart for characters that get embarrassed. Because that's way cuter. I don't need no yandere coming up on me, trying to murder me and the people that I love. I'm glad that we were able to understand more about Ukyo and stuff. Because we saw him in such small glimpses within the other routes that it was just like, what is your deal, bro? What is your deal? And it's really sad, though, to think about, considering that he has to watch the MC be with somebody else. And I remember for sure that he commits suicide at the end of Kent's route. I say for sure, but I'm actually really unsure. I recall that they mentioned somebody, I think they vaguely said it, somebody who looks like Ukyo was seen on top of the building and then he jumped or something. But I don't think they actually really knew who Ukyo was. It was just kind of like, this one dude, he did this thing, and you only knew because I think you saw him. And Oh, maybe it wasn't suicide. Maybe, and you know what, considering he pretty much knows everything about, like, how the world works in its murderous rampage. He knew, I think the railing was rusty and then it broke and he fell. So I guess it was like partial accident, partial not accident. This entire time I didn't realize that, I didn't think that Orion's god was gonna look like just Orion. Thought it was gonna be something else. I'm also still kind of confused about the whole, oh, those kids, because Lord Nil looks like he's an older gentleman. Not older as in, like, old man, but, you know, like, old enough to not be called a kid. But yeah, I like the stories for each one and how it went. The fact that the MC wasn't the same in each one, she was actually different. Like Shin's one, she was a singer. Kent's one, she had a dog. That's nice. It's nice to see other things involved in her story, because it's supposed to be us. We're supposed to put ourselves into her place, so there isn't, like, too much going on, but, like, we know a few things. I'm not sure if in every single one of them she had a stepmom. I think it was only one of them that she had a stepmom. And then she didn't want to live with them because, you know, it was a step-parent. She was like, nah, son, I'm living alone, leave me alone. I don't love you, you're not my mommy. One of the things I can't get over is the fact that their fingers look super long. I can't help it. It's super... It's like glaringly obvious for me. Like, overall, I like the style, but their fingers... Their fingers are like sausages on their hands, and I can't get over it. I just can't. I think that's about it. That's all I really have to say. I think majority of the stuff I mention is at the end or during every route. What I really like, if there's one aspect of their design that I'm gonna, like, really pinpoint aside for the fingers, I really like what they did with the eyes. I kinda, the two tones, it's really cute. I also like just looking at it and then being reminded of random things. Like Orion's eyes, cotton candy, I think somebody had watermelon eyes. Did I mention why I didn't do the air hockey one? I didn't do that one because it's pretty much the same thing as Junkin Po, except it was air hockey, and also it was laggy for me. I closed out Audacity simply because I didn't want it to be so laggy, but it was super laggy. I'm sure that if I didn't have OBS on either, it would have been fine, but, like, how am I supposed to, you know, record? I mean, I checked it, and I did Shin's one, and I cheated. Speaking of cheating, Junkin Po. Okay, first I'm gonna finish up my air hockey thing. So I tried to do Shin's one, it was laggy, and I didn't know what was going on, and I just hear the sound of me winning, and I'm like, yeah. Like, sometimes it would stop lagging, and I'd be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. But majority of the time, it was just me going, I don't know where the disc key thing is. Junkin Po. The fact that I did not choose anything other than scissors, except for, like, 1 or 2 times, was because I got that idea from my sister. They go by really fast, and you're supposed to hit the guard or not, and I'm trying to pay attention to what they choose. And sometimes I kind of space out. And because I'm just staring, I'm trying to remember, okay, rock, because since I'm just using scissors, rock, hit guard. And then I just don't. I just stop. Yeah, I already forgot what I was gonna say, because then I kinda... Whoosh. Anyway, it was a lot easier to just hit scissors, because then I was in the middle, and I could hit either the stupid hammer or the helmet to win. Ukyo's one was really fast. I thought I was gonna have more trouble, but considering that I was cheating to begin with, I'm just glad that, you know, there wasn't, the computer isn't that great. Just imagine the computer learns and it's all like, oh, excuse me, stop hitting scissors? You're the biggest cheater. Can't believe this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I am really sorry about how strained my voice gets sometimes. I hope you enjoyed the not complete. I hope you just enjoyed this playthrough of Amnesia Memories. I didn't get to the bad end, but that's okay. I really don't remember where they could have gone, like Wix routes they could have been on. It was really fun. I apologize for when I get really upset over things. And I hope that you join me in whatever I plan to do next. I'm not entirely sure what I have in mind. It might be an RPG maker game, or it might be another visual novel. Most likely another visual novel, because I have fun with those. Have a good day and have a good night. Bye-bye.